unapologetic, unadulterated, and uncompromising. Greetings, brothers and sisters from around the world, and welcome back to the home, the haven, the stronghold, and the super fortress of intelligent Black thought. This is the BlackChannel.net radio. I am, of course, your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. And the telephone number is 646-787-1933. That's 646-787-1933. Your personal access code to the blackest radio program in existence, the only one of its kind on planet Earth today. Join us. And join us you shall today, although you might regret it after you do. Brothers and sisters, I have to tell you that tonight's broadcast, and I don't mean to do this, especially not week after week, but tonight's broadcast is going to just offend the holy hell out of most of you before we even get started. I have to tell you that tonight, I feel that it's a situation where in all of my 4 decades of walking this earth, in all of this time, I have to tell you here that I can't think. Just when you think that people have gotten as perverted and as sickeningly low as they can get, that's when they take it one step farther. Okay, people are saying that they're hearing some type of sound problem. No, I don't think it's on my end. Although, we'll definitely see if we can check on that. No, there are no cyborgs around here. Nothing like that. They're saying that my sound sounds a little bit off. I'm not sure exactly what it is they're referring to, though. Sounds like a robot. Yeah, that's what I was thinking there, because there are other people saying that it sounds fine. If you're having trouble listening here, because tonight I want this to be very clear for you. If you're having trouble, you need to refresh your browser. Okay? If you're having trouble hearing, if anything sounds off to you, try refreshing your browser. Because the problem is on your end. The problem's on your end. Now, I have to tell you here that I'm disgusted tonight. I'm absolutely disgusted. This Walter Scott case is just so outrageous at this point. It's just become so outrageous that I'm not even sure that that we can even salvage it at this point. I'm not even sure that it can be salvaged. Not only do you have a cop executing a man, not only do you have his people, his family singing hymns, but now, just when you thought it couldn't possibly get any worse, it does. Now, a lot of you have been passing around the story from the New York Daily News. Now, that's not the one that I was reading from, and I'll tell you why here in just a few minutes. From Slate magazine, by Josh Voorhees, bystander who filmed Walter Scott's death seeks payment from news organizations. No, I'm not kidding. No, I'm not kidding at all. Fayadine Santana, the guy who recorded the murder of Walter Scott, is now looking to cash in. He's now looking to cash in. And that's what I want to talk to you all about here tonight. Among other things, because he's not the only one. He's not the only one. I'm going to give you all the details here shortly, so of course you want to stick with that. We're going to give you just a minute here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to see about doing a restart on this. It'll only take about 30 seconds for it to do that. I'll see if we can do a restart on this. That way, some of you who are saying that you're having problems, that way, just so you can see that it's ruling it out, because there's a few of you who say you're having problems. It's on your end, but I'll just go ahead and restart it. Maybe it initialized badly for you on your side. So this will be just about 15, 20 seconds here, and I'll be right back with you all. Everybody stay tuned. Now, I want to go over this with you here. I want to go over this with you here. Because I want you to have the details. I want you to have the details about what happened here, so that you can understand exactly what we're talking about here, because there's been some confusion, and I don't want there to be any confusion. Now, from Slate magazine by Josh Voorhees, the story states, the now infamous video of a South Carolina police officer shooting Walter Scott in the back this month has been viewed more than 1 million times on YouTube and countless more around the web and on television. But moving forward, any news outlet that wants to run it may need to pay $10,000 to the man who recorded it, at least if his legal team has its way. The New York Times reports that an Australian-based publicity and celebrity management company sent out cease and desist letters to news outlets around the world this week, letting them know that the video remains the property of Fayadine Santana, the bystander who recorded the film on his smartphone when North Charleston police officer Michael T. Slager shot and killed Walter Scott on April 4th. Here's the New York Times with more on legal case, which appears to be strong for Santana. Copyright experts agree that although news agencies are allowed to use even copyrighted material under what is called fair use clauses in the law, that time period has passed. At some point, it's not newsworthy anymore, and you are using it for commercial benefit, said Frederick Haber, a vice president and general counsel of the Copyright Clearance Center, a collective licensing organization that works on behalf of copyright holders such as the New York Times. The issue could change once the video is played in court during a trial, he said. While it may seem opportunistic to try to make money off a video of someone's death, Santana's lawyers told the paper that it was only fair that his client get paid, since the news outlets themselves were trying to capitalize on it. Perhaps more important to some will be the fact that Walter Scott's family are said to have no problem with Santana's efforts. Quote, "Without the video, we would not be where we are right now," Justin Bamberg, one of the family's lawyers, said. Regardless of how you feel about Santana trying to cash in, if nothing else, it provides another incentive, albeit a less noble one, for bystanders to whip out their phones and start filming when they see a police confrontation. So what he's doing is he's saying, hey, what he's doing is saying, why can't I cash in on the dead body of Walter Scott? You see, he came out at first trying to play the little humble immigrant card. He tried that, and a lot of people who are trying to defend him look pretty bad today. A lot of people who do. A lot of people sound like that now. A lot of people who were saying to themselves that maybe these people see themselves like us. Now, I think he's from the Dominican Republic. I think he's from the Dominican Republic is what I think there. I think that he's from the Dominican Republic. And what happened is that somebody, some non-black entity, got a hold of him. Some non-black entity got a hold of him and said, hey, you need to go along with the program. You need to go along with the program. Don't worry, we'll take care of you. You need to listen to us. You need to listen to us. You're not like those American blacks. That's not you. You're not like them. You're like us. You're like us. We got a different agenda. We got a different agenda. See, you're under the false impression that, or at least you were under the false impression that you were like them. You're not like them. You're like us. And there's a lot of that going around in black society. We have been transformed into a nation of sellouts. Let me explain to you right here. This, what Santana is doing, this ain't got a damn thing to do with capitalism. Nothing at all. This isn't capitalism. This is vulturism. You don't make money by selling tickets at a damn funeral. That's not the way things are supposed to be. That you are without scruples, without character, without honor. And that's what we're witnessing right now. A young man who was approached by white men in Australia, and they told him that he was more like them, and that you don't have to worry about what they think. We got your back. We'll take care of it. Now, don't you all know that this young, dumb, greedy little bastard has sat up here and played into their hands? Do you realize that? He wants to try to charge $10,000 to show this video. You see, white men ain't stupid. Most of you are. But white men ain't stupid. They know how greedy and how easy it is that you are able to shut black people up, shut black people down, and silence them with nothing more than a promise. So he's had some sleazy ass lawyer and some even more sleazy ass celebrity ambulance chaser in Australia tell him that, oh, we gonna set you up nice. You've got this video. Man, everything is gonna be just fine. You're gonna make so much money. You are gonna make so much money. You let us take care of handling this for you. You know, like the Four Tops and the Spinners and all the other black acts, musical acts of the 1950s and 60s and 70s. You let us take care of you. We will see to it that you get your money. All you have to do is sell your soul, at least be willing to lease it, and we will take care of the rest. Well, I wonder, how much can I get? How much can you get me? How much can I get? Well, we think you can get $10,000. You can get $10,000 for every news outlet that every time they play it, you can get $10,000. And he sat there, clapping his hands. Ooh, 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 that's good. I will take it. That's good. I will take it. Now, do you all know what's going to happen next? Have you all noticed that in the last 48 hours, all the major news outlets have stopped talking about the Walter Scott shooting. Did you realize that? Did you all realize that all the news outlets have stopped talking about him? Just like that. They're done. Just that quickly. They're not talking about it anymore. And do you know what they're going to say? They're going to say, well, you can't blame us for not covering the case. You can't blame us. We were talking about it, but then they wanted to shake us down. And when we said no, they said, well, you can't play the video. Do you realize that this young, dumb, greedy-ass little bastard just sat up here and took the whole thing right off the table? Do you realize that? Do you realize that? Every time that we get ready to strike the death blow, every time we got white supremacy on the ropes and the momentum is behind us, they are able to get every nigga in the room to sell his damn soul. To sell his mama, to sell their husband, to sell their wife, to sell their children. To sell their very children. They don't have to beat up on us. We sit here and do it for them. We do it for them. They don't have to fight us. Hell, they don't even have to trick us now. They don't have to take the issue of white supremacy off the table. We're the ones taking it off the table now. You got some Negro from the DR who's come up here. And they probably told him, you're not black, you're Latino. And he's like, well, hell, damn them niggas, where's my check? You see, he sees Walter Scott as somebody different from himself. He doesn't see Walter Scott as somebody like himself. He sees himself as Latino, Walter Scott as black, and the police officer as white, and that he just showed up in a situation. There is no us and them. He thinks it's y'all and them and me. That's what he thinks it is. He thinks it's y'all and them, and then there's me. And this is what we're up against. They are now going to remove the talk of Walter Scott. Do you all realize that it could be 6 months before there's any type of hearing regarding Michael Slager? Do you realize that? Do you all realize that it could be 6 months or more? Do you realize that it could be 6 months or more before there's any more news regarding Michael Slager? Do you know how much people can forget in 6 months? So he's basically given them the cover that they need to stop talking about this. You can't accuse the news outlets of not talking about it. You can't accuse the news outlets of not covering it. You can't accuse the news outlets of not giving it attention. But now you can't blame them for stopping talking about it. Now you can't blame them for it. And we just walked right into that one. We just walked right square slap the hell into that one. I've told you all many times before that we are the only people who try to make love to our enemies and our problems sitting right next to us. We want to snuggle up with them. Phaeton Santana needs to be an outcast. He needs to be a pariah. He has seen the blood of another black man and said, "How can I make a buck?" And I want to ask you all a very simple question tonight. Can you explain to me what is the difference between Santana and Slager? After what you've just heard tonight, somebody explain to me what's the difference between the two of them. I'll wait. You explain to me what is the difference between Santana and Slager. I'd like to know what that is. I'd like to know what's the difference between them. There are a lot of people lined up, ready and prepared, sitting inside of black society. It is too damn easy to buy us off. It's too damn easy to convert somebody into a coon. It's too damn easy. It is too easy to grab somebody and convert them into a coon. And this didn't even take a full month. I mean, they just from the beginning. So do you know what that really means? That means that Santana, after he took the video, he went looking for someone because it says that he hired a lawyer. Now, supposedly he's supposed to be a poor little immigrant, but he got a lawyer. He found himself a lawyer, and now he's found himself an agent. Now I ask you, is that the behavior of somebody who is at war with white supremacy? Is that the behavior of someone who is at war with white supremacy? I'm asking you. Is that the way that you act and behave? Because it doesn't sound like he's at war with white supremacy. It sounds like he's at war with us. It sounds like we're the ones that he's at war with. That's what it sounds like. And he's not the only one. Oh no, he's not the only one. From Boston.com, Ben Affleck asked Henry Louis Gates to remove references to Affleck's slave master ancestor from Gates' PBS show. From Sarah Morrison, Ben Affleck was not happy to discover that one of his ancestors owned slaves while filming Harvard professor Henry Louis Gates Jr.'s Finding Your Roots series, and asked Gates to edit out the information according to leaked Sony emails. That's right, remember those leaked Sony emails? that took down Amy Pascal? Well, guess what? There was more in there. Skip Gates doing the butt dance. Gates told Boston.com on Friday that the show removed the reference to the ancestor because, quote, in the last season, we had several stories about ancestors who owned slaves, and we couldn't use them all. Ben Affleck's ancestor story just wasn't as interesting as the others that made the cut, Gates added, and so we decided to go with a story about his ancestor following the Civil War instead. It made for a much stronger story arc. So, Henry Skip Gates has finally been outed, has finally been exposed for what he is, that his feet can't move fast enough and butt dance enough, that he is waiting and chomping at the bit to help these people wipe us out. Now, the story goes on to say, last July, Gates emailed Sony Entertainment CEO Michael Linton, he's one of the other bigots who was back and forth with Amy Pascal trading black jokes, and mentioned that, quote, one of our guests has asked us to edit out something about one of his ancestors, the fact that he owned slaves. Affleck's name is never used in the emails, but he is referred to as Batman and is said to be filming in Detroit in July 2014. Affleck will play Batman in Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice, which was filmed in Detroit last summer. In the emails, Gates appeared to consider Affleck's request, even though he acknowledged that to do so would be against the policies of PBS, which produced and aired the series. Quote, to do this would be a violation of PBS rules, actually, even for Batman, Gates wrote. I would take it out if no one knows, Linton replied. Gates then said that several parties were already aware of the situation. He said he and Affleck had the same PR agency, Sunshine Sachs, and that everyone there has been involved trying to resolve this. Linton then responded that removing Affleck's ancestor would be, quote, tricky and a bad idea. So, when they thought that nobody knew, Michael Linton said, go ahead and pull it. Once he said, but other people do know, Michael Linton said, well, maybe we need to leave it in. Maybe we need to leave that. Might be too late to do something. We might want to just leave it in there then. Yeah, might want to leave it in there. Might want to just leave that. It would embarrass him and compromise our integrity if the situation became public, Gates wrote. I think he is getting very bad advice. I've offered to fly to Detroit where he is filming to talk it through. In another email, Gates wrote, once we open the door to censorship, we lose control of the brand. So he sees talking about ancestry as just another way of pimping things. Let's go ahead and pimp this some more. Where are all you damn Skip Henry Louis Gates supporters out there now? Where the hell are you people? I want to see a couple of you defend this bull jive right here. Tell me how the hell you defend this. He doesn't tell Ben Affleck no straight out. He goes and sends private emails and says, well, he said for us to take it out, and I figured I better call Michael, and talk this over with them about what we should do. This is what the hell you're dealing with today, people. This is what we're dealing with. Sunshine Sachs did not respond to request for a comment from Boston.com on Friday. A PBS representative told Boston.com PBS did not know of the exchanges between Professor Gates, Sony, and Mr. Affleck, and were not part of editorial decisions made by Professor Gates and his producers. In a separate statement, PBS said it is clear from the exchange how seriously Professor Gates takes editorial integrity, and that Gates and his producers used independent editorial judgment to choose the most compelling narrative. What did they just tell you? That PBS is in on it with them. So much for the public broadcasting system. They might as well call it the white supremacist broadcasting system. They are in on it with them. They're in on it. Everywhere you go and everywhere you look, we are surrounded by sellouts. We have become a nation of sellouts. I put up a post last night where I was that an Aaliyah song had come on. It was Back and Forth. It was the remix of Back and Forth. And I put up a post in our group on Facebook, TMI, and if you're not a member of TMI, you need to join TMI. But I put up a post that said, do you remember how much you used to enjoy songs by R. Kelly before you found out he was a pedophile? And don't you know that one of the first responses was some bump-faced Negro talking about, well, I can separate R. Kelly's misdeeds from his music. Now, if you're going to make a statement like that, then you also have to separate race, Birth of a Nation. And you just have to say, well, we just have to judge the movie on its artistic merits. We should not look at the motivations of the directors or the story. We should just judge it based on its artistic merits. It's too easy. It is too easy to get black people to sell out. And I mean at the basest, most unscrupulous levels. And it's not like we sell out for big money. Most of the time, we just sell out for a promise. Hell, not even a promise. We just sell out for somebody giving us a sentence. If they pay us attention for 5 minutes, that's it. Mama, you out of here. We are simply too easy to buy. Too easy to buy and too easy to buy off. I'm going to go ahead and open up the phone lines here right now. The telephone number is 646-787-1933. That's 646-787-1933. That's your personal access code to the blackest radio program in existence. The only one of its kind on planet Earth today. Join us. Let's see if we can take caller from 469. You're on live with the Black Channel. Caller from 469, last try. You're on live with the Black Channel. Okay, caller from 469 is playing on the line. We're going to go ahead and just give that a rest for a little while here. You have to understand, once we start the broadcast and whatnot, the white supremacists and the FBI and all the other little troll groups call in, and we want to see, monitor what's going on. Definitely you can monitor it, because this is the kind of thing that scares you. This is the kind of thing that scares you. You see, there's a reason why they're pouring on the gas now. There's a reason why they're doing that. There's a reason why, people, because they are afraid. And rightfully so. They are afraid. They are scared to death that the 21st century is going to look vastly different from the 5 centuries before it. That's what they're afraid of. They are afraid that we are turning a corner. And when you see things like the fact that now saying coon has entered the mainstream, Jesse Lee Peterson, the Huffington Post, Don Lemon, they're all sitting up here talking about cooning now. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing that seemingly out of nowhere, you were able to get that they have all started saying that word now on network TV. And what they are doing is they are responding to us because they know that we found a weapon that works. They know that the tide is turning. And that's why the assaults on us are increasing in their viciousness. They're increasing on us in their boldness. That's why they're buying every nigga moving. See if they can get you to sell out early. Because they know what has worked in the past. Being able to shut us down has been so easy in the past. Being able to censor and silence us has been so easy in the past. And it's been so easy because we made it easy. Without a code of conduct, this is where you stay. Without a code of conduct, this is where you stay. Caller from 239, you're on live with the Black Channel.
Yes, hello, my name is John from Florida.
John from Florida, what's on your mind?
I mean, you had addressed something about this about Skipgate. You had addressed something about this with Skipgate. Like,
okay, you're gonna wanna take your phone off speaker.
No, I'm actually on I'm in traffic, so
okay.
That's all.
Sounds like you're on the subway or something. Let me give you a minute here to get that situated there. Let me take caller from 972. You're on live with the Black Channel.
Hi, Jason.
Hello, what's your name? Where you calling from?
It's Kimberly calling from Houston.
Hello, Kimberly calling from Houston. What's on your mind?
Hey, I really wanted to just talk about, having a code, and I really wanted to also point out, I know you had posted a video in the TMI group and Jason Black group this week with Corey Holcomb, and essentially that's what he was talking about, is having a code. And like you said, I think some of the things that and some of the work that you're doing and Tariq's doing, I think it's starting to catch on. Do you think that we truly can change the conversation now?
I don't think we can. I believe the conversation has already started changing. The conversation now is going towards black empowerment. The conversation now is going towards a strict fundamentalist view of black identity. And that is why these people are so desperate to distract us. They want to change the conversation desperately because it is working. It is working. We're talking about coonery. We're talking about white supremacy. The conversation is changing. But you see, our enemies are not like us, Kim. Our enemies ain't like us. You see, our enemies don't sit up here and say, well, let's check back with them in 5 or 10 years and see how far they get. See, our enemies don't do that. Our enemies take a look at us, and as soon as they see a little bit of progress being made, they say, okay, we got to shut this here down. We got to shut this down. Y'all are doing way too damn much. Got to shut you down. They're not like us. They don't sit back waiting for a catastrophe to happen. They take care of it quickly.
Well, Neely Fuller talks about racism, white supremacy being the biggest problem facing the planet. And I'm just starting to see that whites don't really want to solve that problem, because when you're talking about black economics and talking about black progress and you're talking about a code, they actually want to shoot that down. But you get the talking heads like the Hannitys, and they say, well, black people don't know how to behave, or black people don't want to do better. But when this is this is the code that we're trying to push. These are the endeavors that we're trying to push, and we're being shut down. These conversations are being, blocked and avoided. So I feel like they don't want the problem to be solved.
Well, absolutely not. Their job is to make sure that the problem continues to exist. As I've explained to you all many, many times before, you're never going to have white supremacy fight to end white supremacy. Racism, lynching, the murder of black people, that is in white supremacy's best interests. That's why you always get some limp-wristed, mealy-mouthed, half-hearted, half-assed response. Because they understand that, okay, maybe that wasn't so great what happened, but if we deconstruct this system of white privilege, we now have no more privilege. And it always requires some level of terrorism in order to maintain privilege that you have not earned. You absolutely have to engage in a certain level of barbarism and terrorism in order to maintain power in the manner in which they're doing it. Privilege cannot be sustained forever like that, because eventually you get people like me. And once that happens, now you've got to do something. You got to do something different now. Because what you were doing before, that's not going to work. You have to do something different now. And their entire modus operandi is constructed around not doing anything different. Having everything happen just the way it has for the past 500 years. That's the goal.
Well, I mean, like you were saying, the conversation's changing. You are hearing the words racism, white supremacy being used simultaneously. So we are hearing that, and I guess, I mean, I don't know if I know we have to invoke the spirit of each one teach one, but, and I know I probably talk about this all the time, Jason, but I still feel like Black people know what's going on. They see it. I mean, it's obvious. They understand racism, white supremacy, but they are not motivated to do anything or just take that extra step due to religion and because every time I have a conversation, I even noticed with Tariq's interview, I forget the man's name, but Tariq's interview this week
with Jesse Peterson,
yes. Did you notice that he tried to find out what Tariq's religious background was? He tried to bring that into the conversation to justify. I kept picking up on that, and I feel like that is still a hindrance with a lot of Black people, is the religious thing. Well, I don't have to act because my religion can kind of, keep me from really doing what I need to do as a man or as a woman. And I picked up on that in that conversation, is that he wanted to take it to religion when religion really had nothing to do with the topic. And so, again, I feel like we're so close, but yet so far away.
I mean, but understand something.
Could make.
Black people invoke religion as a camouflage for their cowardice. Because even when you show them where your Bible says to stand up for yourself, Black folks say, well, I mean, the Bible clearly says no fornication. Who's got the most bastard babies? Bible clearly says that. So we also ignore the part that says you're not supposed to be nobody's slave. We ignore that part too. Because, as I've explained to you all before, you use religion to amplify whatever it is you already are. If you believe in power, wealth, and influence, you use the Bible as a tool to cultivate power, wealth, and influence. If you believe in servitude and slavery, you use the Bible to reinforce your servitude and slavery. That's why I've always told you all that if I told everybody, hey, we found a lost verse in the Bible that says, and Black people never be slaves to whites and overthrow white supremacy anywhere and everywhere you find it, including with the gun, don't you know Black people would become Buddhists the next day? The very next day, you would have a mass exodus of Black people from Christianity. They would become Buddhists the very next day. Because the truth of the matter is that most black people are just scared. And that's the way it's always been. And I want to say this tonight in no uncertain terms. Fear is coonery. Where you sit up and put on this little po-mouth face and, oh, Lord, here they comes for us. Oh, Lord. That's another form of coonery. And we know it. We know that's just nothing but cooning. We know it. We're not ignorant of it. We know that's what's going on. We know that's what they're doing.
Wow, I never thought about it like that. That fear and coonery kind of run in the same family. I never thought about it like that, but I think you're right.
When you think about it, it'll make perfect sense to you. Fear and cooning come from the exact same place.
I've been just trying to have some discussions with friends and family over the last couple of weeks just about some of the current events that have been going on, you know, particularly the two men that were gunned down. And, you know, every time I felt like I was making a breakthrough, you know, I'm sharing some of your videos, Neely Fuller, et cetera, and I just, and maybe I need to study more, but it would always come back to, well, you know, like, Kim, we just got to pray about it. I mean, you know, yep. I kept running into that wall, and so that's just something that, you know, being a part of IBS, that I need to get better. How do I combat that? Because I feel like being in the South, I'm in the Bible Belt, and that's my biggest hurdle, trying to talk to people that I feel like they're so close. I mean, they get IBS. I had someone call me this week that I had introduced to your videos, and they were like, Kim, Jason is right. You know, he's right about building. Something went on with his job, and he was like, everything that Jason's been saying is right, and I get it now. But I kind of just run into that whole thing about, well, let's just pray, you know, and read our Bible.
Now, you said that he told you that. He was a friend of yours?
Yes.
How long has he known you?
Maybe about 2 years.
He's trying to get in bed with you.
Well, you might be right. I don't know.
I'm not Mike nothing. He's trying to get into bed with you, and he's just saying whatever it is you think you want. He thinks you want to hear. But here's the problem with dudes trying to use me as a tool, as a mechanism to get females into bed. You see, fellas, it ain't gonna work with me. And the reason why my broadcast is not gonna get you into bed with nobody is because my broadcast does something that most others simply cannot do. I say that watch what a man does, not what he says. Because once you said for him to build, first thing he said is, yeah, you right, we need to build. Now join your hands and pray. When it was time to actually build, you will be able to tell the real from the phony when you say it's time to build. Take a look at who picks up a hammer and take a look at who picks up their ass. But when it was time for him to actually start building, he told you, well, you know, back to these intangibles. Because he sees that Kim's got a little nice face and a little nice waist, and he's like, hey, I'm going to listen to her talk this entrepreneurial bull jive, but at the end of this, I'm trying to see some panties. And I will just sit here and let her drivel on about this mess as long as she needs to. But at the end of all this talk, there needs to be some sex at the end of this conversation. And what he's doing is playing the long game. He's just nibbling around the edges, and everything you say, yep, you sure right, yep. Hey, he's dead on about, you ready for some sex? Oh, you ain't? Okay. Yep, no, he's sure right. Build. Build? No. We just need to pray on it, you know. We just need to pray on it. Nothing that you heard in my broadcast says anything about praying. If he really got anything out of it, he would have known nothing I say says it ever directs you to pray. But he said that to you, Kim, because that's not what he's about. That's not what he's about, and it's a whole bunch of black males out here playing the long game. They're just trying to wait y'all out.
Yeah, I won't disagree with that.
They're just trying to wait you out.
Well, you know what? I guess that's broader than just me, but that's a disappointment because I mean, we want our men to build. You know, sleeping with me is irrelevant as far as I'm concerned. You know, I want our men to be encouraged and then, you know, enough to take the steps to do what it takes to build a new society. So, I mean, that's unfortunate if that's where we are, you know, is that, you know, sex is the ultimate goal. You know, that's unfortunate.
That's what most black males are building. Most black males are trying to build a brothel. And doing pathetic at that, by the way. Not even doing a good job at that. We're not even building our brothels right. We're not even doing that right. That's the part that's just absolutely disgusting. Not even building the brothel right. If you get power, wealth, and influence, the females follow from that. But you see, black males do not actually want to do that. Number one, they're scared. Number two, we have an intellectual laziness that pervades. Number three, we're too easily bought off. Remember what I said about that before? If you want to stop the average black male from building, throw him a pair of Air Jordans or an iPhone. And he will say, with all these other people, Arabs, whites, Asians, Latinos, they are all trying to build skyscrapers. They're all trying to build mansions. They're all trying to build modern marvels. Black males are trying to get a new car. And that's it. Once he gets that, man, I'm done. I'm done. What you mean I gotta do more than this? I'm done. Man, I am too good. I'm right where I need to be. Why are you coming to me with all this build stuff? Don't worry. After a little while, your phone is either going to stop ringing. If you've been calling him, you need to quit. Is this thing on? If you've been calling him, you need to quit.
No, Jason. No.
Hey, we're all adults here. Let's not even play that. If you've been calling him, if you've been calling him, at least make sure you stay on your birth control because he's not taking you nowhere.
No.
If you just want to have fun with him on, if you just want to have fun with him on Saturday night, that's your business. But as far as long term, this nigga ain't going nowhere. He's not going nowhere.
No. And I'm totally with you on that. I mean, I'm more of trying to share what I know, and so for me, that's not on the table.
Well, don't you realize that a guy like him sees you like they do the church ladies?
Say again?
Don't you know that guy sees you the way they see the church ladies?
What do you mean by that?
That you talking a bunch of stuff he ain't really interested in, but he'll be cordial about it. But you're annoying the hell out of him.
Well, you know what, Jason? I probably annoy a lot of people, including my family. That's for sure. I'm probably not the most desired person to be around because, I mean, this is what I have to talk about. So if you're not interested in talking about black empowerment, we don't really have a lot to talk about. So my circle is pretty small these days.
Well,
and that's okay. I like it like that.
Be that as it may. If it's going to be that, it's going to be that.
And that's all right.
I'd rather have an honest enemy than a false friend. And this Negro ain't taking you nowhere. All this mess he's talking right now, girl, he's going to be talking that in 20 years from now. And I mean that in all seriousness. You will come back in 10 years, in 2025, and he'll still be talking the same mess.
But I guess my question is what. And I mean, I see, the different conversations, that go on in the TMI group. And what is it that we can do to raise the intelligence and the aggressiveness of our people? Like, I mean, I guess we are doing that. I guess we are doing the right things, but how do we get more men like you? Like, how do we groom more men to be that way? And I mean, of course, there are many guys in the TMI group, I won't call names, but in the Jason Black group that I feel like are well on their way. But how do we get more of that and less of the thug mentality, let's accept everybody, come as you are mentality? How can we get less of that, more intelligence? Some of the posts that I just see, sometimes it makes me cringe. It just makes me cringe, the intelligence level of some of our people. And so how do we push that? What can we do differently?
What we're doing right now, you have to understand, this didn't happen overnight. It was a slow, gradual degradation that happened over the course of decades. And it is going to be an uphill fight to turn it around. What we're going to see are phases. If we're lucky, it's going to be a 10-step process, and if we're lucky, we'll make it the first 2 steps. So you're just going to have to resign yourself to that there will be major battles that you will win, but the overall war, you're only going to start moving the needle. But the real thing is for us to show the needle can be moved. But we're looking at a 10-year fight here. This isn't something you're going to get accomplished in a day. Understand, I've been broadcasting now for 5 years. Been making videos and posting up now for a decade. This isn't something that just happens overnight. It's not. What we are doing, this is what moves the needle. By us being uncompromising and us speaking out about these things, calling people out on it. Take a look at what we did on Twitter. Take a look at what we did on Huffington Post. Take a look at what we did to Madame Noir. Take a look at what we did to Goldie Taylor and The Root. Take a look at what we did. Take a look at Jesse Lee Peterson. Take a look at Don Lemon. You take a look at that. Your Hollywood stars are not repeating the things that we're saying because they got a dose of blackness one day. They're repeating it because they heard us doing it and saw that we would not be quiet. So they're following a leader. Not because they think that we're so great and wonderful, but because they think, well, hell, they did it and survived. They were able to do it and survived.
Well, what you're doing, I certainly admire what you're doing. And I think, even the smaller group, the smaller collective, if we just can continue to abide by a code and enforce a code. I mean, it's like you say, at some point it's gradual, but at some point, like you say, it should catch on. And that's something that I'm hopeful that will take off and will catch on. That we can, to aspire to have higher standards for ourselves, higher standards as women, mothers, as a family unit. I'm just hopeful that, maybe intelligent Black society can push that. I mean, I see a lot of resistance sometimes in the TMI group of having a code, but I think what having a code means is that it makes you take a look at yourself, and I think that's really hard for a lot of us to do.
Well, I mean, a code is not established by just one billboard. I mean, if it was that easy, society would be in constant chaos. So it takes a steady, prolonged drumbeat. It takes a steady campaign. And we are going to have to just keep at it. It's monotonous and it's ongoing, but we have to just keep at it. And you have to just keep saying it until everybody in the damn world knows about it. Understand, wars are, you have strategic wars and then you have wars of attrition. We got too many enemies for us to really be strategic like that. We got too many enemies to really do that. So in this case, we're going to have to just fight a war of attrition. And what that means is we just have to keep hammering and keep slugging, which is what we've been doing. You know, when you have a steady drumbeat of Hidden Colors, 7 a.m., Dr. Boyce Watkins has got his documentary coming out, Resurrecting Black Wall Street. You know, he was on CNN giving them the business. Isaiah Washington, Tariq Nasheed, you know, with this steady drumbeat going on all over the place. What we are is, the problem with white supremacy is it is now suffering, as George Will said, the evils of anything that becomes too big. You've got too many people who don't know how to properly maintain this wicked aristocracy that you've built. That's the problem. They don't actually know how to properly maintain this thing that you've built. So what they've ended up doing is they become a bad carbon copy of what it was you were doing, but they're not actually keeping it maintained the way that you were doing it. That's not actually what's happening. So what ends up occurring is they end up relying on their apparatchiks to try to keep the faith for them, but they're getting weaker and worse at what they're doing. So they become the incumbents, and everybody's heard it before. They've heard the Kunin before. Here's the problem, Kim. The Kunin is not making progress for the masses. It's giving benefits to the individual. It does not give benefits to the masses. What we got gives benefits to the masses. So these guys are like the folks that you hear on the radio. And it's not that everybody thinks Beyonce is so great. It's just that they know she's on the damn radio all the time. We're like the indie band. We're like the underground rappers. And we're giving them the real deal. And people are gravitating to that. They are gravitating to it. Now, it's not going to be quick and easy. You're not going to have everything fixed in 30 minutes like on TV. It doesn't work that way. But you are going to start seeing progress, which is what we're seeing right now. You are going to see progress. But we have to be patient. And I know that is hard. You have to be patient. I know that with this coonery and buffoonery going on out here, I know it just taxes the hell out of your patience. But you have to be. You have to be.
And I know you've kind of talked about this already, but I just wanted to comment on the Walter Scott incident, and I think that's a perfect example of us not abiding by a code and the impact there's an impact we could have made, had we been abiding by a code, from the family's reaction to the young man who recorded the incident. Again, that just shows that black people, they know that I think they don't realize that they're under a world system of white supremacy. There's still a big group that they realize racism exists, but they don't realize that they're under a world system. Because when you realize you're under a world system, you will react differently, but they're reacting very in silos and selfishly. And, that was just one of those things that kind of disturbed me this week. But
when a person is afraid, look, the first thing that fear makes you is a liar. The first thing that fear does to you is fear transforms you into a liar. Like the guy who you were talking to. He's afraid. He does not really want to do what you're talking about doing. So he got in your face and did what? Lied. That's what fear does to you. Fear transforms you into a liar. Didn't say you're going to be a very good one. It transforms you into a liar. And that's what he did. It turned him into a liar. It turned so many of us into liars. That's the absolutely pathetic part about it. We allow that to happen. Kimberly, let me dissuade you all of a few fallacies here. Don't ever lie to yourself and tell yourself that there is any black person alive who does not know about white supremacy and racism. Every black person on the face of this planet, including in Africa, knows full damn well that we live in a white-dominated planet. Everybody knows it. Everybody. And you've only got two types of black people. Those who acknowledge this and do something about it, and those who acknowledge it and go back to picking the cotton. And what they want is the ability to sit in the presence of people with courage and honor and pretend that they're one of us when in reality they're not. When you meet the go along to get along, step and fetch it, Lil Jon and the East Side Boys, coon along Negro, understands he's letting you know. He knows. Well, I'm not here to educate people about what racism and white supremacy are. I'm not here to educate them about that. Kim, you learn about that when you're 5 years old. Everybody knows it. You know how we know? Take a look at Skip Gates. Kissing white folks' asses for decades. Soon as they telling us there's no racism, Dr. John Henry Clark and all these pseudo-scholars, why, you would have figured that of everybody, this nigga here, he knows there's no such thing as racism. He's been saying it for decades. The second that the cops put cuffs on him in his own house, what was the first thing he said? They doing it because I'm black. This is racism. As soon as they took the cuffs off, what did he start saying? Well, probably wasn't racism. Clarence Thomas has been an enemy of black society, which is why the Bushes chose him. But when Anita Hill, a black female, made accusations against him, what was the first thing he said? This is a high-tech lynching. They're just doing this because I'm black. So just as soon as they don't treat them the way they want to be treated, all of a sudden they acknowledge racism. Not only do they acknowledge it, you can't shut them up about it.
That's true.
But then you come back and all of a sudden they're singing the song and dance. Sister, we just got to understand that there are a bunch of black folk who are just shameless. When I say Nation of Sellouts, that's what I mean. They are shameless. They're shameless. They see it just like you and I see it. Don't ever delude yourself into thinking that they don't. They see it like you and I see it, but they play the game. They play the game. They play, we talked about Lee Daniels. Baby, most of black society is playing the game. When they get around you, racism exists. When they get around whites, no such thing as racism. When their ass gets in the crack, racist, racist, racist. They just say whatever they think is convenient for the audience that they're in front of. But don't you fool yourself into thinking that they don't know it as well as you do. Sister, everybody knows it. Asians know it.
Well, you're absolutely right about that. My sibling is very much one of those that oh, there's no racism, there's no color, married to a white woman, very much, hey, just pull yourself up by your bootstraps type of person, stop making excuses, that type of attitude. And I guess he had his nigger wake-up call recently, and we've never been able to discuss, racism, white supremacy, and I started getting phone calls, oh, can we talk about this? I don't understand, and I'm like, no, you understand. You don't want to deal with it. And I think you've talked about this before, but, sometimes we confuse sexual excess with, everything's okay, but it's not okay. And there's just no denying, especially if you're a black male, there's just no denying that there is a war against you right now. And if you can't see that, if you don't realize that you could be next, then I don't know what else. There's no more that I can say, that anyone can say. I mean, it's obvious right now what's going on. I mean, black men are under attack.
But we play the game of
Always
extreme
have been.
escapism.
Always have been, but now it's just being televised. I mean, when you can kill a man on, I mean, do you know how brutal that is? That you can kill a man on camera, don't give a damn, not even concerned whether you're going to get off or not, because you know you're going to get off.
These are Nazi Germany type tactics. These are Nazi Germany tactics. This isn't even American style killing anymore. This is Nazi Germany style. It's Nazi Germany style.
This is so serious.
I mean, first they shoot you on camera one by one. What's to prevent them from getting 4 or 5 of us together now? And understand, if that happens, it depends. If your brother has made up his mind that he needs to get a non-black female into bed to validate himself, he could be watching black men killed by the 5s and 10s and 20s on television on the news, and he will just shake that off. Oh, well, they shouldn't have been in that neighborhood. They shouldn't have been out that late at night. They shouldn't have been doing that over there. Well, oh, man, I just hope they don't get me.
Well, I know a lot of people that feel that way, but it's, again, I'm coming from the perspective of a woman, but as a man, if you do not acknowledge what is happening right now, I mean, it's televised right now. They're saying, we don't give a damn. We will kill you. I mean, all they have to do is say, I am threatened. I was threatened.
I felt
merely by the fact of you being black. I mean, every black male listening to this program right now, every black male watching, should be just like, he should be on guard for his life. Like, every day you walk out of the door, your life is at stake.
Yeah, I mean, just understand that, with Eric Garner and Trayvon Martin and Walter Scott, the day and age of black males just floating through life. And the problem with black people, and particularly black males, is that we want to act like we're free agents. That it's just me. I'm just this autonomous being floating around. And all that means is that you are just by yourself. You're by yourself. You cannot defeat white racism as an individual. And we are trying to play this stupid-ass imaginary game in our minds as black folk that we can defeat white racism as an individual. That I, as an individual, have an answer, some way that I, individually, am able to address white racism. That's the game that we got playing in black society right now. That I can fix the problem on my own as an individual. The rest of you just don't get it. But I can fix it. I can fix it. At least for me, I can fix it. Now the rest of you, I ain't so sure about. But for me, Oh, yeah, I can fix it. I can fix it. It's not my fault if the rest of you don't know. And that's why we have the situations that we have. Everybody keeps getting their damn wake-up call and whatnot because they keep telling themselves, don't worry, I have an answer. I got the answer. I've got my own secret strategy, my own secret recipe that will get me around this. That's what Peyton Santana is doing right now. He's told himself that he's gotten off the banana boat from the Dominican Republic and that he has a special key. That he, because he speaks Spanish, that the Latin community will take care of him. He's a free agent. And he's not the only one. You have a bunch of black folk playing the same game. We're free agents. I can do this myself. I'm not accountable to none of you. That's the game we got going on. I'm not accountable to any of you.
Yep.
And we need to be on guard to stop that kind of mess. We have to be on guard to stop that. But understand something, they're not going to stop it on their own, Kim. They're just not. They're not going to stop it by themselves, babe. That you can forget that. That's why I put up a post earlier this week. War is the answer. It's going to have to be.
I mean, I do agree with that because, I mean, right now, or I won't say right now, but in the past, I mean, all we've done is just take an ass whooping. And I mean, what is the incentive to stop? You know what I mean? What is white society's incentive to stop? There is none. We won't defend ourselves. So what is the incentive to stop? There is none.
I mean, there is no deterrent. There is no deterrent by which we can say, okay, if you all don't quit this stuff, we're going to do X, Y, Z. There is no deterrent. It's not there. And because it's not
Jason,
there, they're not slacking up on nothing. It's not there.
And Jason, as long as, you know, we keep talking about, well, I'm going to just let, I'm going to just let God handle it. I'm going to just let Jesus handle it. I'm going to just pray about, you kicking my ass. Well, I need to do something. I need to kick your ass back. And as long as that's our solution to the problem, nothing's going to change. I'm going to give you an example. When I was growing up, went to a predominantly white church with my mom when my parents divorced, and then, I'd go to my dad's church. Totally different experience. The black experience was more of a subservient experience. The white experience, it was more of we just kind of passing through, but it wasn't. It was just. It wasn't like a subservient type of feel. Like, the best way I could describe it, like, we equal to God. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to going to a black church, it was more like, serving a slave, serving a master. And I just think we're so indoctrinated into this being this lowly, meek people. And until we decide that we're going to fight back, you hit me, I'm going to hit you back, nothing will change. As long as I say you can hit me and I'm going to go in my corner and pray, well, I'm going to just keep getting hit. And that's the bottom line. And I know that upsets folks. It upsets my family when I say these types of things, but it is what it is.
we as black folk, and being from the South, I can tell you about this very, very well. We have prided ourselves on this utterly ridiculous idea that we are, in fact, smart by doing these things. Now, when I was a kid, when they talk about singing the old 100s and whatnot, do you realize that most black folk think that's smart? Because they tell you, well, it was on the plantations. And, I mean, they'll tell you this. They'll tell you that we were singing those songs because, well, you know, we were communicating about getting free. We were communicating about being free. Sweet, swing low, sweet chariot coming home coming forward to carry me home. We were singing about getting free. Now here we are. You're no longer on the plantations, and you're still singing songs about getting free. You're still doing that. And in our minds, the practice of doing that allows the cowardly to still sit in our presence. Can we just be honest? The practice of doing that has allowed our cowards to still sit in our presence. Because they shouldn't be here, Kim. Simply put, they should not be here. They shouldn't. Because they're not going anywhere and they're never going to take us anywhere. Hell, they never threatened to take us anywhere. And we keep playing this game whereby which if we just let bygones be bygones and live and let live, to hell with that.
Well, I had someone tell me just this week that the last will be first. So you know what they were implying. Well, we ain't shit on earth, but we'll be first in heaven.
Of course.
Yeah, somebody told me that this week. I was like, you
of course.
can't have any more conversations with someone with that mentality.
Yeah, I mean, what he is telling you is, I'm done. You go and fight white supremacy. I'm done. I'm done. I ain't fighting no wars. I ain't standing up for myself. They can come and slap me on the cheeks and smack me on the ass and call me boy. I'm done. I'm not standing up to nobody and nothing. I don't care what they do. They can come shoot my mama long as they didn't get me. Ain't that right, Faden Santana? Ain't that right? Ain't that right, all you R. Kelly fans? Ain't that right? There's no amount of bowing, no amount of scraping, no amount of sucking up, no amount of scum sucking that is enough to shame you. These are individuals, Kim, you can't talk to them because they don't have a concept of shame. Someone who does not have a concept of shame does not have a concept of decency. And if I can teach you many things. I don't know how to teach you how to want to be a decent person. I don't know how I would do that. So I say I'm not. You sit right there and be as indecent as you want to be, but I'm not here to convince you to be a decent person. You gotta already have that. I can deal with you after the fact, but I can't sit here and try to teach you how to be a decent person. It doesn't work that way. Doesn't work that way. They're just hoping that you will be willing to waste your time enough. And the dudes are going to see if you're dumb enough to sit there and talk to them, and hopefully there's some sex in the offing, and the females are hoping you'll be dumb enough to sit there and talk to them, and they can have a companion to sit around while they moan about their pathetic life, but that's all it is. That's all it's ever been. It's nothing more than that. Never has been. I'll let you have the last word.
Well, I just want to say I'm looking forward to the event that you've kind of mentioned in July. So can't wait to hear more about that and location, date, etc. So I'll be on the lookout for that.
Well, thank you very much,
Thank
and we
you.
hope to see you there in Black First as always. Let's go ahead and see if we can take another call here. Caller from 646. You're on live with the Black Channel.
Good evening, Jason Black. This is Jay from Brooklyn.
Jay from Brooklyn, what's on your mind?
Well, I currently live in New York. We're around the same age. It really doesn't surprise me about Jay Santana because, you know, my family's from the islands and stuff, and a lot of times you see that kind of mindset, excuse me, when people come from over there. And I actually visited DR 3 separate times. And, you know, the same exact thing goes on down here. There's up here, they don't want to admit the fact that they're oppressed people. Well, they know what's going on. They just try to not acknowledge it. You know, and I told family members as well as friends, everywhere I've been the military, I've done IT work overseas. You see the exact same melanoid people in poverty, but yet the white people are living lavishly. I don't think that's coincidental at all, as I was telling them. And with your last caller, I'll be honest with you, if I have a conversation with you once or twice about this incident, after a while you already know what somebody's mindset is when they start talking about religion or, you know, my favorite one about, you know, get along to get along. But yet black people will hold grudges against other black people and melanoid people all the time and would do so to pretty much kill each other. But when it comes to a white person, oh, no, you have to forgive, and they're racially insensitive. They don't know any better. They know better. They just don't care.
Well, I mean, that's the problem that you have. Because these people actually sink their heads, man. They actually avoid people like me and Kim. And when they see you coming, guys know when I say something online to them or on the street to them, they know where I'm going to go next. When I tell them, no, we can't complain about that, they know what I'm about to say next. I'm about to say power, wealth, and influence. I'm about to say, what do you own, control, and are passing down? And they already know what the answer is going to be. So they just get to a point where they start avoiding you.
Yeah.
They already know what you're going to say. The guy who ain't building nothing, he knows he's not building anything. He knows what you're going to say to him. So he just makes it his job to just stay away from you. He's just going to stay away from you. It's not accidental that you don't meet a whole lot of folk like us, man. The rest of them, once they heard you say it the first time, they know what you're about. They're just going to stay away from you. Why? Because you keep reminding them of what they're not doing.
Well, Mr. Black, you know what's so sad? Recently, I actually teach basketball for middle school, and a child's mother walks up to me, and she was telling me about like what she expects from her child and everything, and she was preaching academics. And I'm glad that what she was saying about, you know, her child, what she expects from him, but it's kind of heartbroken because personally I think I should have that conversation with his father, not his mother. You know, talking about the importance of what his name is and everything else and how he's supposed to represent himself, because her thing is with the school I was teaching, she said, you know, I don't want him here anymore because it doesn't have structure and everything else and knuckleheads. And I had to tell her, no matter where he goes, he's going to have to deal with knuckleheads. It's just that does he have the fortitude to weed them out? And I told him in his face, I'm like, you're going to lose friends once you start going up in ranks. If you want to be the best in this position, quote unquote, playing basketball, they weed out people very early. Very early. And I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. With your last call said, we got a lot of punks in our own community. They sell a lot of wolf tickets by being loud, but when it's time to get down, silence. Disappear. You can't find them at all.
What it is it goes back to what I said about too many sellouts. You have females who sold out to feminism. They sold out that garbage. And then what happens is, you know, she can't give her son the game because she's not a male. But she doesn't know because she didn't know her damn father. So nobody put the game in her either. Now, I don't blame you. I don't blame you for nobody putting it in you. I don't blame you for that. But you know damn well what you are missing by not having a father in your life. So when you do meet a man who is approaching you and instilling you with the game, it's time for you to shut the hell up. It's time for you to shut the hell up. Because you know you didn't get it. So you need to just be quiet and get it. Because you ain't got it. And once you decide you want to be hard-headed about it, now you've declared war against the society and your own children. That's not going to fly. But we have a lot of people like that. And understand, brother, you and I are not going to be able to change that until we can punish that kind of behavior. Now, socially, we've already begun the process of punishing it socially by creating a new order that defines blackness on our terms. We've already started that. Now, the next step will be when we start enforcing it. When we start enforcing it socioeconomically. When we start enforcing it socioeconomically, that's where things make a big change. That's where things make a change.
I mean, it's funny because I had a conversation with my director, who's a female, and she had a father in her life. She had brothers and everything, and we were talking about the structure of these kids. And I was joking around with them. I'm like, a lot of these kids are doomed because, like you said, about the feminism, the welfare system, and a lot of these kids are coming from overseas, from places like DR, El Salvador, and everything else. And it's almost like they give them things just for trying. And I told them when I'm running practice, I'm like, look, I don't know what your mother told you. I don't know what your father told you. But you're going to have to earn this. You know, you have to earn your position. I don't give anything away for free because that's not how life is. It's a competition. You have to compete. And these little rugrats, it's funny because, you know, I have practice and they're like, oh, I'm going to play you one-on-one. I'm like, I'm teaching you basketball and you want to play me one-on-one. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. I feel I could beat you. Why? So we'll play, I'll demolish him and everything, and, you know, it's over. And, you know, TBA, it just doesn't make sense. I couldn't imagine a child challenging my coach to a one-on-one. Especially when I don't know anything.
Kind of makes you wonder what the goal is. What is the goal? Do we actually even have one? These are important questions. These are. I'll let you have the last word.
Keep on doing what you're doing. I have a question. Are you still selling lots of 7 a.m. on DVD? Because I actually emailed you guys early this week about that.
Yeah, I'm glad. I need to do an update on the website for that because I'm glad you asked about that. I'm going to give an update on that here just shortly at the end of tonight's broadcast. But I don't want to get too sidetracked on this before we get further along. But just keep listening in. For you and everybody else, by the way, I want to give you I'm going to have an update here at the end of the broadcast.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you very much for joining us here. Black First, as always. Let's go ahead and see if we can grab another phone call here. Caller from 718. You're on live with the Black Channel.
Hello?
You're on live with the Black Channel.
Hi. This is Estelle from Queens.
Estelle from Queens. What's on your mind, Estelle?
I've been following you, and I've come to the conclusion that the war against ISIS really has to do with us. And by that I mean that we are the descendants of indentured servants, Indians, and slaves. And I think that when the whites haven't gotten on board because they feel haven't gotten on board because they feel
you have too much.
from everything.
You got too much going on there. Okay, I'm gonna give you a few minutes to get everything quieted down, and we'll come back to you, Estelle. It sounds like she's calling us from the kitchen of a hood restaurant in the Bronx. So we got the dogs barking and the birds chirping and the dishwater running, and I need you to have it together. Caller from 917, you're on live with the Black Channel.
Hello?
Yes, that's you.
Oh, Black first.
What's your name?
This is Terry calling from Brooklyn.
Terry calling from Brooklyn. What's on your mind?
Hey, how you doing? This is my first time actually calling in. I'm 23 years old. I've been listening to your show for a while now. And I just called in. I just had a question concerning like friends and economics. Well, basically, like, I want to try to, like, get a lot of businesses going, like, trying to tell my friends, put my friends on, empower them, but it seems like either everyone has an excuse, like always, or, like, you know, they'll be committed, but then, you know, you never hear from them. So, like, I wanted to ask you, like, being from New York, like, what would you suggest as far as, like, surrounding yourself around people who's willing to build?
Okay, first rule here, okay? You attract people to yourself like yourself. You can't be somebody who's not building and hasn't built anything and then expect that you're going to have people around you like you. That's not going to happen. You're going to have people around you like yourself. If you're a musician, you're going to go in places where other musicians are because you want to apply your trade. You want to pursue your passion. So you're going to be where musicians are. So they don't have to run around looking for you. You're looking for them. If you want to be a model, you're going to go to modeling agencies. You're going to go to photographers. You're going to go to places where models are. You don't have to do a whole bunch of fighting to find models. You're already looking for them. And they're already looking for you if you're good at it. You want builders to hook up with you? Start building. You have to make yourself a beacon. Nobody's going to sit up here and knock over dumpsters to find you. You have to make it clear to them that, hey, I'm up and coming. I mean, I've said this to you all before. It's like the mafia. It's akin to the mafia. In the mafia, yeah, you got, you know, dons and underbosses and capos and, you know, soldiers. Yeah, but you've also got, you know, now those are all your made men. But you've also got wise guys. Now, wise guys are what you would call in biker gangs prospects. And below them, you've got associates. Well, who are associates? Associates are people who are not in line to become mobsters. They're not in line to be part of the mafia, but they are people that the mafia can call on. Meyer Lansky is an example of that. Now, he could never be in the mafia because he was Jewish. Nicky Barnes, you know, he could never be in the Italian mafia because he was black, but the Italian mafia, Nicky Scarfo, I think it was, they dealt with Nicky Barnes because he showed he could move weight. He showed he could produce. And so people came looking for him once he started producing. And people who are builders are always looking for new talent. They're looking for somebody. It's like in the music business. People like me, I'm always looking for somebody who's thorough on what they're doing. The problem is you can't find very many of them. But I'm always looking. Don Peebles is always looking. Dr. Dre, P. Diddy, Jay-Z, everybody's always looking. So you start building and these people will find you because they will see that you got something to offer and they'll start looking to see, let me see if I got anything to approach him with. That's the way it works.
All right, definitely got you. Sounds about right.
I have more conversations with my banker than anybody else. I have, especially as tax season, I have more conversations with my banker, my CPA, and my tax attorney. And they're not all black, by the way. But I have more conversations with them than anybody else. And guess what? They are the ones who connect me to other people. I've made more contacts through them. And when I started doing 7 a.m. and stuff like that, once you start building, matter of fact, with the bank, you gotta get them to stop calling you after a little bit. They will be coming to you once you start building. The females who got their minds right come to you once they see that you're not one of these black males playing the long game and running a bunch of bull jive. They will come to you. You ain't gotta chase them. They're gonna chase you.
Yeah, you're right. Being that you just mentioned the banks and everything, like one thing I know for sure, definitely, like I really gotta start saving up my own income and like, you know, definitely being more progressive with that. So
I gotta start. What does that mean?
Well, like as far as like saving and everything like that, I'm really not the best at that. Like I'm trying to do it better, you know, every day. But you know,
what's the problem?
Say again.
What's the problem?
I mean, personally, it's just like spending money on like BS or like, you know, if I do have money, like it's just like being spent away on bills and everything, expenses. So it's more me just trying to like, you know, get it together, like, and just trying to get my head forward so I can really like get this whole economic game going.
No, just wait for the non-black people to run y'all out of Brooklyn. Just wait for that to happen.
Yeah, it sucks over here in Brooklyn.
Yeah, just do that instead. Don't worry about savings. Just keep spending your money how you've been doing it, and don't worry about it. Those non-black people will take care of you. They'll set y'all up nice. They got some nice new apartment buildings that they're building for you. So don't worry, they'll take care of you. Keep it up. Just keep doing it.
Nah, I definitely don't want to keep doing that.
Well, like I say, brother, you ain't got no time to waste. How old are you?
Yeah, I said I'm 23.
Okay, you have no time to waste. You're already behind the 8 ball. You have no time to waste. None whatsoever. You're in bad-ass trouble. What do your parents do for a living? Both of them, I mean.
Well, my father, that's pretty much self-explanatory. He's not around. He passed actually like last year, and my mother, she works like retail.
Okay, so your mama can't do a damn thing for you. How many siblings you got?
I got 2 brothers.
Okay, how are they doing financially?
Well, they live with my mother, like.
So they can't do anything for you.
Yeah, they're not good for me.
Keep giving yourself material therapy. Black males are very, very good at engaging in escapism. I'll buy some shoes to make myself feel better about being poor. Keep engaging in that, brother, because every day that you wait, you stand a chance of ending up like Leo Grand. Leo Grand was the homeless fellow who some white folk taught him how to program in JavaScript, but the reason why was because he was homeless, and he was homeless because he got gentrified out of the apartments he was living in. They built some condos around the corner. The rent skyrocketed for his building. They didn't even build it there, but it was around the corner, so the housing values in the area went up. The rent went up the very next year, and he found himself homeless. So just keep telling yourself, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll just one more pair of jeans, one more pair of shoes, one more pair of red bottoms. Yeah, I meant to say that. Well, just one more pair of them, and then I'll stop. Just one more time. Ooh, she got a nice ass on her. Just one more time, and tomorrow I'll get serious about this. Go ahead and keep it up, man. Don't treat this like an emergency. Don't do that. And when your number comes up, just remember, hey, I don't know if you can live in them shoes, but you gonna have the flyest foot game at the homeless shelter. Your foot game is gonna be on point. I remember what it was like being 23 also. I made a very stupid decision when I was 23 years old. And I had plenty of savings, but I made a stupid decision. For about the same reasons. Not really material therapy, it was just overindulgence. And it took me years to dig out of that. It took me a decade to dig out of that. Because understand, the dollar is worth less every year. It surges, it goes up and goes down, but the trend is down. Housing values are ridiculous where you are. And every month that you wait, you are at more of a disadvantage. Every month that you aren't able to execute, you are more behind the 8 ball than you were the month before. That's not a joke. That's not a joke at all. So if I were you, man, I'd foot to the floor. Foot to the floor. But you don't have any time to waste. If your credit is not together, you need to get that together ASAP, because it always helps. Do you necessarily guaranteed need credit? No, but as young as you are, especially in the situation that you're in New York, you need to get that taken care of. You need as many advantages as you can give yourself. Credit is an advantage when you got it. You need to get together with only 2 other black males. Get together with 2 black dudes who are already building and thorough. And you, first of all, you need to have some yourself. What have you been to school for?
Well, I studied, at first I was doing mass media communications, so like I kind of have a good amount of knowledge about radio, broadcasting, all that kind of stuff. So, say again?
Worthless. What else did you learn?
Other than that, like I took a class in business, like about 2 years ago, but I kind of didn't finish that class.
Yeah. See what I mean? So basically you are an entry-level employee. Not at 18, but at 23. I kind of didn't finish the class. Okay. All right. I think you would be a good candidate to do that. I think you would be a good candidate, like I say, to take a STEM class of some kind. I think you'd be a good candidate to take something like that. If you invest the next year of your life, at 24, you can hit the ground running. Because
can you repeat that again? What kind of class you said?
It's science, technology, engineering, math. You need to you need to be doing You need to be doing engineering, IT, computer programming. You need to be CPA. You need to be doing something like that, especially for where you are. Because New York is investing big right now to try to attract internet companies to New York City. New York is trying real hard. And the people who are in position are going to, in 10 years, are going to do really, really well. But that's the people who are in position today. The people in position 10 years from now are going to be paying the premium. Like I say, you got an opportunity, man, but it's going to be up to you. If it were me, I would be investing the next year of my life into that. I'd be investing the next year of my year in a especially advantageous place for where you are in New York for doing something like that. And by this time next year, you can hit the ground running. And at least you will no longer be able to be, at least you will no longer have to worry about being an entry-level employee anymore. And from there, you can start making some moves. And other people are going to be like, hey, you actually know how to do that? Well, hey, I got something else for you. I got too many people sitting on my website can have that conversation with you. Too many. Ambush, Marty, I got too many people can have that conversation with you. My man, Jason Reed is taking courses for that now. His is like I think it's like a 9-month course, something like that. So it's not even a whole year. So you don't even necessarily need a degree, but you need to be learning something that you can actually use. You cannot use sociology or psychology. Radio and broadcasting, my God, give me a break. They don't hire people as DJs because you have a degree in radio and broadcasting. Radio and broadcasting is something that a school offers you. They also offer classes in sculpting. I wouldn't be waiting to pay my bills doing that neither. So, what you're in school for before, you can't use any of that. That's worthless. Business, a degree in business only helps if you've already got business connections. If you don't, the degree ain't gonna help you. No school teaches you how to be an entrepreneur. So you can just forget that. You learn business by doing business. But that's going to be your task to learn that. So first order of business is to do that. You need a skill. You need something that you specialize in, because you can't build what you don't know. Like, for example, what kind of business would you like to go into? Well, first of all, do you want to go into business for yourself?
Yeah, definitely. Like right now, like I am into network marketing, but also like I kind of want to like have my own media outlet. Like I'm into the whole arts and everything. So
network marketing is worthless. So let's talk about something practical. The problem with network marketing is that you must be a salesman in order for it to work. Most people are not salesmen. So network marketing as a venture is pretty much not going to be very, very useful for you. Furthermore, you're limited in how far you can go, and I think you've already seen that if you've been dealing with it for any real length of time. So the real thing is having a practical skill that you can use. You're going to need something practical. Obviously, you're talking about you want to go into media and marketing. That's fine. But how? Do you know anybody in media besides me?
Well, besides you, like I know quite a few people that's done radio before. They've people that write blogs and everything like that. So it was pretty much just me trying to like talk to different people, see like how they got themselves in the door, and like trying to do my own thing independently.
How
like
long
one
you been talking
problem
to
that I
them?
know I do have.
How long you been talking to them?
Say again?
How long have you been talking to them?
These are like people that I've known either through the years, like recently, last 2-3 years. But it was a thing where I really didn't know like how I wanted to take what I like to do and what I knew how to do, and like, you know, just make money off of it or build a business out of it. Like I'm learning all this kind of stuff, like within the last year or so. You know,
right?
Just being exposed to like.
Now, do you understand how much of it have you executed?
To be honest, not so much.
No, okay, the word is none.
Like
the word
couple
is none.
months I've started.
The word is none.
Hello?
Not so much. The word is none. How much have you executed? None. Nothing.
None.
You've executed nothing. You see, a banker, a CPA, a tax attorney, an accountant, they cannot help you. The first thing that will happen when you go see a CPA, and you've never seen one, the first thing that happens when you go see a CPA, there's only one thing that he wants to see. He is going to ask you, where are your books? That's the first thing he wants to know. He didn't ask to see your degree. He didn't ask to see your report card. He wants to see your books. And if you cannot produce books, he wants to see your bank records. Why? The very next words out of his mouth are going to be, because we need to make you some books. But he can't help you until he can see what condition you are actually in. Because your accountants and tax attorneys, but accountants understand that people come to them with their emotional investments, talking to you out of their emotions. And he's like, I can't help you like that. I can't help you with your emotion. I got to have some facts. And if these facts, if the truth of your real condition breaks your heart, so be it. But I can't help you with your fantasies and your neuroses and your anxieties. I got to know how bad your situation really is. And what I'm telling you right now, brothers, start accepting how bad this situation really is. We're really aimless right now. We're really, really aimless. And if you have been talking to people for a year and haven't executed anything, then what you've been hearing for a year hasn't been very useful. What you've been hearing for the last year, and you actually said 2 or 3 years before that, what you've been hearing for the last couple of years has not been helpful, because you have not been able to act on anything you've heard. And you're no closer today to acting. So I'm telling you that about that radio and marketing thing you were talking about, the strategy you're using isn't working. And clearly it's not working because it's been a couple of years and we're no closer to actually putting anything into practice. not beating up on you. I'm just saying that it's time for us to deal with where we really are.
No, I definitely get the reality. Like, it's not like I'm oblivious to it. It's just that right now, like, I'm pretty much just trying to get myself really, like, head first into everything, like, taking everything seriously. So it's like what I've been doing is just like, you know, writing out, planning, like, things that I want to get done instead of just, like, thinking out loud and just saying, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Like, so, yeah, speaking of, like, school and everything, I was thinking that when I turned 24, because with my whole situation, I wasn't able to get like financial aid or anything like that. But I guess when I turn 24, like I'll be considered truly independent. So, I was banking on the government, which isn't really a good thing, to like, you know, get the kind of aid I could, you know, have to, you know, continue with school and everything like that. So I can actually have something that's worth, have a degree or anything like that useful to applying it to my business.
First order of business, you cannot run a business if you cannot run your own finances. If you are incapable of producing a profit for yourself personally, which means savings, you can never expect to run a business well. If you cannot build up personal credit, you will never be able to build up business credit. If you cannot handle your own finances, you will never be able to handle anything else. That's the first step. Number 2, if you are not making enough money, you need to either get a second job or get a better skill so you can make more money. Third, once you have that in place, you need to have a plan before anything else. You need to know exactly where you are going. You need to be able to write down on a sheet of paper in very clear and plain English a diagram that shows a practical route from where you are today to where you want to get to. That's what you need to do. So when you hang up this phone with me tonight, what you need to do is you need to write down exactly how you're going to do that. Because right now you're aimless. First way to get out of being aimless is have a plan. So you need to know exactly where you're going. Because so far you're not sure. You talked to some other people about some other things, but obviously that's a non-starter. So before you do anything else tonight, let's stop being aimless. Write down where we're going. Even if you don't know how to get there, write down where you're going so you can start finding out how to get there. I'll let you have the last word.
Well, thanks for the advice. I'm definitely going to stay tuned. I appreciate everything that you are doing. And Black first.
Black first, brother. Thank you very much for giving us a call. Check back with us again, of course. Let me try, Estelle. Have you got things quiet over there now? (972). Hello.
Hi, Jason. This is Kim again, but I was just listening.
Okay, let me go ahead and put Kim back on hold here. That's the wrong one. I thought we had something else there. All right. Caller from 850, you're on live with the Black Channel.
Hey, what's going on there, Mr. Black?
Okay, take your phone off speaker, whoever you are.
Oh, okay, hold on. Oh, yeah, I took my phone off speaker.
What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Marcus. I'm calling from Tallahassee, Florida.
Marcus from Tallahassee. What's on your mind?
All right, I'm just logging in, listening, but I'm checking you out, and I've been a long time listener, and man, over here, and like you said, Tallahassee, Florida, and all of Florida. Well, not all of Florida is messed up, but, you know, here in Tallahassee, man, Florida State dropping an economic bomb on us, you know, and FAMU, which is the other college here in Tallahassee, don't have a chance. So, well, that's all, man, I wanted to say.
Okay. I really don't have any idea what that call was about, everybody. Sometimes that happens. All right, let's see if we can try another call here. Caller from 917, you're on the line. Caller from 917, it sounds like you're rubbing the phone all over your body. You're on live with the Black Channel. Okay, caller from 917 has been abducted. Sometimes that occurs. I want to do an after hours tonight. That's what I want to do. I want to do an after hours tonight. And I want to that's what I want to do. I want to do an after hours. Cuz I've got a couple of things on my mind. And it for the ladies and whatnot, like I say, it's you might want to listen in for it, because that is something in particular that I do want us to discuss here. So I may have a couple of the ladies on the line here in a little bit with us to discuss that. But I do want to see about having an after hours tonight. So for those of you who are not familiar with how after hours works, basically that's the Black Channel. We do things a little bit differently and whatnot, because usually I talk about social issues and stuff. But there's something in particular I do want to discuss tonight. It's a very important thing, and I want to cover it because we need to cover this in depth as only the Black Channel can. So definitely you're invited to do that for us and with us here as well. All right, couple of updates here. First of all, about 7 a.m. Now, let me go ahead and explain about 7 a.m. here. All right, what in the world is going on with the 7 a.m. DVDs? We've had a few things that's been going back and forth and things. And let me explain to you what has been going on, because I'm going to post this up and I need to explain this for everybody. All right. When we did the original run of 7 a.m. DVDs, there were some things that we did want to address. Okay, there are some things we did want to address. So I did that. And I feel good about some of the issues that we did address. However, we also had to wind up changing suppliers on it. So we ended up making some changes with that. It does happen. The original intention was for us to be done at or right about the 1st of April. That was what we were looking at. But I'm just going to be totally honest with you. I was not happy with the quality that I was getting from where I went to. I was not happy with it. Now, I very easily could have printed up, we very easily could have stamped out 9,000 janky DVDs. We very easily could have done that. I'm sorry. I'm just not going to do that. I'm just not going to do it. I could have done it. I just wasn't going to do it. So, after the 1st of the month, we had to do a turnaround again and basically start the process all over again. 7 a.m. is basically my life's work, and I was unwilling to just put it out any old kind of way. I wasn't willing to do that. So it has been a bit of a process, and what's happened here in the last week is basically fine-tuning on it. We were having some issues with it. There have been some mistakes made with the some of the layouts, and particularly the PAL. PAL was an issue. A lot of folk don't, when they print up DVDs, they just print it up and that's it, and they just leave it to the folks overseas, and it's just like they're just hoping that the people that they send them to have a universal DVD player. For those of you who don't know, PAL is the format in the UK and Europe, and their DVDs are encoded differently for Britain and Europe than they are for the United States. So a PAL DVD basically will not play in the United States. They're called NTSC, which is Region 1 for DVDs if you're authoring DVDs. NTSC DVDs will not play in a PAL DVD. PAL DVDs will not play in an NTSC DVD player, basically, unless they've got a universal model that will play PAL and NTSC. I did not want to take that chance. I want the PAL DVDs to be printed and made for PAL. I want it to be so that my people in Britain and Europe, when they get it, it plays and it runs and it does what it's supposed to do. Okay? Plain and simple. That's the bottom line. Now, matters got complicated even more because unlike a lot of other people, okay, I had 7 a.m., but unlike a lot of other people, I have a 2-disc set that we were putting out. Most other people ain't got nothing like that. Well, we're going above and beyond. So guess what? Your PAL issue now got doubled because you have a run of regular movie DVDs and you got a run of 2-disc DVDs. So the PAL issue wound up becoming an issue not once but twice. So we wound up going round and round about that and getting that part straightened out. Well, why didn't you just start sending out the DVDs that you had? Because I was unwilling to start doing that again. I want to make sure that for everybody, that when we start shipping, we got everything for everybody, and that includes the DVD perks from the Indiegogo. They were supposed to be autographed. I'm going to have all of those done at the same. All of those are done at the same time. Or all of those are going to go out at the same time. Your PALs, they're supposed to be autographed. They're going to go out at the same time. Single disc and 2-disc are going to go out at the same time. I want to be ready so that when I tell you all we're coming out the gate, we're coming out the gate for everybody everywhere, so that we can handle all the inquiries like they're supposed to be. Wholesale, individual, PAL, US, single disc, 2-disc. Now look at the rundown I just gave you right there. I want to make sure that when we do this, we come out the gate correct. So I apologize about the delays on this, but I was simply here I go again. I was unwilling to compromise. I just wasn't going to do it. So that's where we are. I will try to make it up to people as best I can. For those of you who have ordered DVDs and have been waiting on them, like I say, if you just don't want to wait, hey, I understand. You know, I don't know where else you're going to get 7 a.m., but if you just don't want to wait, hey, that's fine. You don't have to. For everybody who has been waiting, if you would like, I can see about autographing yours for you too. Just thanking you for your patience while we make sure that we make this the best that it can be. Well, TBA, what's the timeline on that? I got off the phone with them here Friday. I am supposed to have my final masters in Monday, and after that, we should have everybody done within 7 days. That is what we're looking at. Now, that's assuming something else of a ridiculous nature does not occur. If it does, I'm handling it best we can do. Like I say, I don't make DVDs. I don't burn them. I don't duplicate them. So this is a situation where it leaves me at the mercy of other people, which is not something I'm accustomed to, but there we are. This happens at major Hollywood studios. It happens at indie films all the time. It's happening with me. So, hey, basically we're dealing with it. We're on top of it. We're not ignoring anybody. I just don't see a reason for me to keep sitting up here and telling people, I'll check back with you next week. Let me check back with you next week. I'm a firm believer that I don't believe in people calling me until they're ready to go. And I'm a firm believer that I shouldn't call you until I'm ready to go. So that is the situation with 7 a.m. With everybody, of course, I want to thank you so much for your patience on this. It will be well worth your wait when you see what it's about. Also, if anybody gets in touch with Zara and Hussein, they were the two young folk who were supposed to get their meet the directors. We have been unable to get in touch with them, and I hate to have to do this like this, but I have to because I've been unable to get a hold of their mom, Elaine, Allene, Aline Abdallah. So I've been trying to get a hold of them. So Aline, if you and the kids are listening, Hussein, Zara, we've been sending you emails. We can't find you on Facebook at your old Facebook address. So I hate to have to do this like this, but we're getting ready to do this thing soon. So if you're going to be a part of it, please actually answer something here and get in touch with us because we're running out of time. And if you miss us, we're going to hate that we missed you. But we've been trying to get a hold of you. So if anybody knows them or if you all are listening, get at me. My email address, theblackauthority@yahoo.com. You know who I am on Facebook, the official Jason Black group. Get us a message here. We don't want to miss you. Now, speaking of not missing things, brothers and sisters, I gotta take a swig. brothers and sisters, without me saying too much tonight, what I will tell you is don't be surprised if the prophet of powernomics, Dr. Claude Anderson, the godfather of black socioeconomics, don't be surprised, don't be shocked if Dr. Anderson is a part of a special 7 a.m. event this summer, like in July, like on a weekend. Don't be surprised if I got a message for you with something like that. And don't be surprised if it's going down in Chicago. Don't be surprised about that. Or if it's going down in Philadelphia. If it's going down in Chicago or Philadelphia or both. Don't be surprised if it's Chicago or Philadelphia or both of them. Oh, yeah. And don't be surprised if Dr. Anderson isn't the only one there. Don't be surprised if that happens too. By the way, and I'm talking about some people that you know, some people who have been involved with, let's just say that they got roots in Chicago. Don't be surprised if a certain a certain bald-headed doctor, a certain people's scholar, don't be surprised if somehow that happens. Now, I'm not guaranteeing you. I'm just saying, don't be shocked if it goes down. Now, if it happens, then you must know that I got something super special in mind. Don't be surprised. And by the way, don't be surprised if the two of them aren't the only ones who show up. Don't be surprised if there are even more. So if you want to know what I've been doing in regards to 7 a.m. in addition to DVDs and whatnot, understand I've had my ear to the street and I've had my fingers on the pulses in a lot of different places. So you've been given notice. It's April. You cannot say we snuck up on you. It's April. And when I tell you that my goal is to make this an event that is worth your while, brothers and sisters, like I say, you'll have notice on it. You'll have notice on it. You will have notice on it. These are major hubs, by the way. Chicago, Philadelphia, these are major hubs. So airfare will not be a problem. It will be worth your while. Let me just put it like this. We have been talking about Black Wall Street. We have been talking about black empowerment. We have been talking about black business districts. The time for talk is over. To be totally honest with you, the time for documentaries, that's about coming to a close too, by the way. By that, I mean documentaries for the sake of making documentaries. That's coming to a close too. The next step is going to be building. Plain and simple. I did not make 7 a.m. so we can make documentaries. I made 7 a.m. so we can get to getting after it. I made 7 a.m. so we can get it done. So tonight I've given you an update on pretty much everything there. So now you should be aware of what's going on and what's going down. I did have conversations this week. I'm not at liberty to say everything just yet. I'm not at liberty to say it all yet because I've not been given permission to say everything I want to say just yet. But as soon as I get it, as soon as I've got permission,
90 seconds.
as soon as I got authorization to say what I want to say and to speak on it the way I want to speak on it, just as soon as I got that, I'm coming to y'all with it. Just as soon as I got it. So that's what we've had in mind here at the Black Channel. That's what we've been working on. I think you're really going to enjoy it, and I think you're really going to get a lot out of that.
60 seconds.
There goes that thing again. Let's see if we can grab another caller here. Let me get caller from 313. You're on live with the Black Channel.
Yeah, peace. This is Off Code from Detroit.
Okay, off code from Detroit. What's on your mind?
I kind of cringe when I hear you say brother. Not to be disrespectful, but whatever. I'm trying to understand the whole economic process because, I don't hear you really elaborating on your methodology or anything.
Okay, define methodology.
I'm sorry?
Define methodology so that we both have a common frame of reference to what you're referring to.
10.
I'll leave that there.
Okay, what did you say?
The way in which you're going to go about things.
Okay.
And I'll leave that there.
The way in which you're going to go about things. Did you hear my previous call?
Say it again?
Did you hear the previous call at all?
Yeah, I heard it.
Okay. That wasn't detailed enough for you?
Moving forward. I'm just curious,
excuse me. Answer my excuse me. I asked you a question. Now you asked me one, I answered it. That previous call was not detailed enough for you, or maybe you just didn't understand it.
It wasn't anything hard to understand.
Okay, you're saying that you don't know methodology. What's the methodology? I spent a whole phone call giving methodology, and you're saying, I didn't get it.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is that's why I asked you to define what you mean by methodology, because you just heard a whole phone call of it, and you're saying, I still don't get it. So clearly you don't know what methodology is, because you just heard a whole phone call of it, 15 minutes of it, and you're saying, I didn't get it. So at this point, I wonder, would it do any good to explain it to you, because you heard it for 15 minutes and came out of it still confused?
Well, here's what I'm saying. It doesn't seem, I've listened to you off and on, but it seems like your methodology isn't sophisticated at all. I mean, you don't deal with anti-blackness or none of that stuff. You just scream black empowerment, and it's just not sophisticated. I mean,
okay, I say no. What is black empowerment? Tell me what black empowerment is.
You tell me.
No. You said that I just say black empowerment. I've said black empowerment 1 or 2 times on this whole broadcast in 2 hours. Now, the previous phone call was methodology, and you're sitting here, you don't know what methodology is, you don't know what black empowerment is, you're very, very confused. So I can see why you're talking like you are, because you're very, very confused. Even you don't know what you're really even getting at. So maybe that's the real problem, is that you need to find out what you mean. What do you actually mean?
Like that's what's going on here. You're spinning things, trying to steer the conversation by saying, hey, well, you sound confused.
No, you're confused because you don't know what methodology is. You don't know what black empowerment is. You're saying, you just say black empowerment. That wasn't what I said. That's got nothing to do with methodology. Black empowerment is a phrase. That's got nothing to do with the methodology I just finished speaking to the caller about. What was the methodology I just finished speaking to the previous caller about?
Yeah, those things were separate, though.
Okay, tell me what the methodology was that I was talking to him about. What were we talking about? Do you even know? Were you even listening?
At the end of the day,
can you even comprehend it? Can you even comprehend what we were talking about?
Of course, it's not.
Okay, what were we talking? Okay, tell us what we were talking about then. Tell us. Should be simple, because everybody's heard it now. Now they're going to see if you can actually tell us. What did we talk about?
Jason, why don't you tell the people?
Now, you know, when a grown male is laughing at something that's not funny, like his own stupidity, that's kind of moist.
I mean, it really is funny. You know, it's
laughing
really
at something that's not funny.
Like,
Stupidity is not funny.
With the truth, man.
Being stupid is not funny. There's nothing funny about ignorance. There's nothing funny about stupidity. That ain't funny. That's not humorous.
So I'm talking about the monotone, your whole Vince McMahon thing. That's funny to me.
Okay.
It's cute how you tell people, you're confused.
Tell me, where's your what do you own? Where's your business?
Say it again.
Where's your business?
Oh.
What do you own?
Where's you gonna answer any of my questions?
I've already answered. I've already answered them. You said about methodology. I showed you methodology, and you said I don't understand it. So I've moved on from that because you are ignorant of it. There's no use in me explaining it to you. Now, what do you own?
Now tell me this. Is this
excuse me.
right here?
What do you own? Why don't you tell us all where your business is? Explain to us where your black empowerment is economics. Why don't you tell us all how you're building economics so we can see?
Can I talk now?
Yes, where's your economics? Where's your economics building at? What you can talk about is what you're building economically. Where is it?
Where is it?
Yes. That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. You're not building anything. And that's why all of this confuses you, because you're not building nothing. What you need to do is get out your mama's basement. Get out of your mama's basement and build something. And these things won't confuse you. You know what you sound like? You sound like a 40-year-old Negro living out in the Midwest who's upset because we talk about money and economics and you can't count past 2. And that's what it upsets you about. We're talking about economics and you ain't got none.
Ooh. I guess you told me, right?
Yes, I did tell you. Now get off my phone. And this is why black women do not take black males seriously. We'll take one more call here from 850. You're on live with the Black Channel. Sounds like you got some feedback going on. Caller from 850. Last try. You're on live with the Black Channel.
Hello?
Okay, somebody here is playing around in their car. This is why you should not do mollies before you hit the road, people. Let me hit the bass pipe and call up Jason. Yeah, what's the discombobulation and what's the methodology and how you get that there done? And did you listen to the previous call? I heard it. What did we talk about? Well, moving right along. Okay. This is your brain on drugs, people. And Negroes like that, you saw I'm not teaching him anything. I'm not going to waste my time. What I told Kim earlier, I'm not here to waste my time with somebody like that. We're talking about economics, and he doesn't want to talk about economics. And this program makes his worthless, low-down kind feel like what they are, insignificant scum. Because he's building nothing. He has nothing. He's done nothing. And he wants somebody who will reinforce for him that, like his mammy, if you're dusty and busted and broke down, that you're still okay. He wants to debate over whether we should be building or not, whether we should build an economy. Next thing he was going to say was that money doesn't matter. That was the next thing he was going to say. When he started talking about anti-black, we started off the broadcast talking about that. He doesn't want to talk about money. He wants to deflect and say, well, see, here's why we can't do nothing. He wants to pull off this scam that there is something more important than money. That's the scam he's trying to pull off. that there is something more important than money, and that we need to stall and suspend talking about economics so that we can focus on this other claptrap you're talking about. There's something more important than money. That's what he wants to say. That we need to be discussing his version of white supremacy, his version of racism. And at the end of that, he will tell you that the answer to fixing white supremacy ain't money. It's not money. And that's why you have individuals out here saying we can gun black males down. Because Michael Slager knows that that caller, he is the epitome of what's going on out there in black society for black males. Unprepared, uninterested, inept, incompetent, unconcerned, till somebody puts a gun to their heads and they want everybody to gather around them and rally around them. The time to rally against the next Michael Slager is the one we got now. I told you all this about George Zimmerman. The time for us to be fighting the next George Zimmerman, and the next George Zimmerman was Michael Dunn. And then the one after him was Darren Wilson, and then Daniel Pantaleo. And the list goes on. The time for us to deal with the next George Zimmerman was when we met the first one. If we had started building an economy then, you never would have had Michael Slager. You wouldn't have had Michael Slager if you had dealt with your George Zimmerman situation. If you had built an economy so that you could sit up here and deal with that, you wouldn't have had Michael Slager. We are trying to do everything. Dusty, ignorant, stupid Negroes like him engaging in every act of cowardice you can imagine because he doesn't want to grow up. And he wants somebody to tell him that he doesn't have to grow up. And he wants a support group that will reinforce to him that he doesn't have to grow up, that he can remain a child. Not only can he remain a child, he can remain a child and be accepted for it. And he listens to us and realizes you can't do that here. Now he's mad. What you mean I can't do that here? Mama let me do that. She told me I ain't got to do nothing different. What do you own? Where's your business? What are you economically building? That don't matter. And when the police come to 313, snatch him up by the ass, start billy clubbing his ass to death, he's gonna remember the black channel and remember that immature, ignorant phase he was going through. That's what got him killed. He's one of the sellouts. White supremacy's power is in its economy, not its religion, not its ideologies, not its military. Everything that white supremacy does is paid for. It is paid for with its economy. The first crops planted in America were tobacco plants. That was the first cash crop. Then you brought slaves, then you got cotton. Another cash crop. Trees. Another cash crop. Agriculture, more cash crops. And that is what paid for the greatest military in the world. The military didn't just spring out of the earth one day, dumbasses. The military was paid for over the course of 150 years. From 1776 to World War I and World War II. Over the course of that century and a half, the economy that they had built over a century and a half created the greatest mechanized army that the world had ever seen. But we want to pretend that we're somehow going to wage a military offense that we're going to conduct a military campaign with no money. And they will do anything and everything to take our eye off the ball and get us talking about something other than building an economy. And guys like him, they are the sellouts because he's afraid. He's a coward. He's frightened. He's scared to death. And that's why they're clearing asses like him out of Detroit. He's scared to death. He doesn't have a plan. He doesn't know what to do against a white economy. He doesn't know. He has no clue what you're supposed to do. And he feels effeminized. He feels emasculated when he hears broadcasts like this, and he knows he's supposed to be doing something, but he has no clue what we're talking about here. And he ain't doing nothing. So we make him feel bad because he's weak. And instead of him doing what's necessary to become strong, he instead indulges in his weakness. And there you are. Well, I'm not going to make you feel better about it. I'm not going to make you feel better about your weakness. You are weak, and being weak has turned you into a sellout. And that's what we have now as a nation of sellouts. And for those of us who want to survive, you better get it in your head that this is war. And he's one of the guys we're at war with. Because if he has his way, the next 500 years will look identical to the last 500. Did he even sound like he cares? He sounds like he could take an ass beating from the police and go home and giggle about it. That's the type of dumb nigga who will get his ass beat by the police, his head all swole up, his eyes swollen shut, lips busted. And he'll go, first thing he'll do is go put up pictures on Instagram. Look what the police did to me. Look what happened to me tonight, y'all. Look what the police did. I'm gonna post this on my Twitter. Look what the police did to me. The police is the police to own. Police is to own. Whatever. You better wake up and recognize that. A lot of your family members, your friends, maybe a lot of you. When we talk about a nation of sellouts, it's always closer than you think. We'll probably be doing a after hours here, probably at the top of the hour again. So if you want to join us, definitely you want to do that because I do want to go over something important here. In the meantime, this concludes tonight's broadcast of the blackchannel.net radio program. Stay tuned for TBA After Hours coming up next here at the top of the hour. And until then, brothers and sisters from around the world, remember, black is the future, and the future is uncompromising.